So the offensive lineman, Cole Mabry, just at the end of that shot, you saw Brian Polian there. He's our guest now, the recruiting coordinator, special teams coordinator. Brian, you're back at Notre Dame. This first recruiting cycle is getting there in the books. How's it been going?
Good. Smooth. No surprises, which on a day like today is a good thing. The staff did an outstanding job. Coach Kelly was unbelievable down the stretch of the season, and then that 3 weeks of contact that we had. I'll be interested to see what the rest of the Power Five looks like at the end of the day. Is if we end up at 20, is that what the normal be? It's hard to know because this is really the first go around with this. But I know certainly as a staff, where we sit today, we are very pleased and very excited.
Did you have an expectation for not just you guys, but around the country of maybe a percentage of guys that you thought would probably use this early signing period? Because like you said, this is the first time experiencing it.
Yeah, I think everybody was kind of guessing. And the framework that we used, interestingly enough, was we kind of talked to the basketball guys because the basketball coaches have had an early signing date for a long time and kind of gauged from them, how does it play out? And the advice that we got has stayed pretty true. I would guess, most people in the Power Five are gonna sign probably 75% of their class on this day, and there's always going to be guys out there, as there will be for us. We'll still be actively recruiting some young men here all the way through the first week in February. But like I said, this is held true to what we felt it would be, and I think Coach Kelly had a great statement a couple of months ago when we talked about these kids that had been committed in this class, and Coach set an expectation that, hey, if you've been committed, then we expect you to sign on December 20th, and if you're not willing to do that, then you're not really committed. And our guys had no issue with that because they knew that they wanted to be here.
Yeah, well on our way to going 20 for 20 today. What's the balance been like for you guys as a staff and just you personally? You've got bowl prep coming up, obviously very focused on that game, but there's guys you're trying to lock down today, also in February, so you guys have been flying all over the country with these in-home visits.
Yeah, it's been difficult, and what I can't imagine right now is what it's like if you're playing in one of these early bowl games or if you were in a conference championship and you were preparing while everybody else was out in homes for an extra week. We were in homes for 3 straight weeks. We had to get a little creative with the coordinators and with Coach Kelly in terms of making sure that they were back here for bowl practice and prep. But guys like me and Todd Light and Autry Denson and Clark Lee, I mean, we were out there, racking up Marriott points and logging some miles. It was different. Everybody talked about how this signing date was going to kind of calm everything down. The reality of it is there was still craziness. There was still, we were on phones well into the evening last night making sure that everything was solid. All it's done is take that urgency and moved it from late January, early February to December when you've still got things going on with your own team. So it's uncharted territory for everybody, but in terms of the urgency that you feel towards the end of a recruiting cycle, trust me, we were feeling it. We were feeling it.
What time was call time this morning for you?
Not bad coming in here. I'm the West Coast guy, so the last couple of nights, like I got a message the other night from a young man that said, hey, I'm going to call you when I get home, and I went down to the couch because if my phone goes off at 1 in the morning, my wife's not going to be happy. So I went downstairs to take that call. So when you recruit a national footprint like we do, I think we have 12 states represented in this class. Last time I checked, I might be off by a state or two, but I think our team represents 26, 27 different states and a Canadian province. So we have that national footprint. So, we're working time zones and trying to find ways to make all this fit.
Yeah, international recruiting really for you guys going north of the border. Brian, when you came back here and you took over as recruiting coordinator, sort of big picture, what were the things that you wanted to do either in the day-to-day of how the recruiting office was going to run or also just targeting positions you guys wanted to focus on?
Well, I think Coach Elston did a really great job of bringing our recruiting operation up to par with everybody else in terms of personnel, use of technology, I think that is really his legacy in terms of when he was running the recruiting operation. We had fallen behind a little bit. In terms of what I was trying to do, it was just really get back to the vision of Coach Kelly and Jack Swarbrick, and that's how important fit is here at Notre Dame. I mean, uh, we obviously want players that compete for a national championship, but there are guys out there with that talent that just don't fit here. And when guys don't fit here, it becomes an expensive energy for everybody, including the young man. So trying to get back to making sure we're finding Notre Dame kids. And then the other part of it is with my role as the special teams coordinator, I can kind of take a broad picture view with Coach Kelly in terms of trying to make sure that we're close to the scholarship model, that we're meeting our needs at any given position. And I think my experience coming from Nevada as the head coach where, you know, I was running the recruiting because you don't have a staff of 100 there, where you could, you know, step back and see the board from a big picture. And I think that's what I've been able to try and help out with. And Coach Kelly sees it, and I'm right there with him and constantly communicating. And then, you know, the days of one guy recruiting, you know, 9 signees, those days are over.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is a collective. You only have to look at, from my experience, the 3 weeks on the West Coast, every week. 1 week it was Coach Kelly out there with us. The next week, Todd Light, Clark Lee, Mike Elko. I mean, we were, you know, Dell was out there, Chip was out there. So, you know, it really has, recruiting in this day and age has become a collective, and I think our staff did a great job of grinding it out.
Yeah, from the outside looking in, very organized, a really successful haul so far. So thanks for the time and the insight
Appreciate
here,
it.
Brian.